So it has been a heck of a couple of weeks. I don't know if you've been paying attention to what's been going on over on Instagram, but it's a miracle that I'm still awake and still functioning enough to even a day late record an episode before, in fact, I go out to ride my bike for another 75 miles tomorrow. So let's get started. I will see you on the other side. Welcome to this episode of Gary Knits, Gary Rides, a Craftivism podcast at the intersection of making things and doing good. My name is Gary. I am a knitter and a crocheter and a designer. I am also, for the past 6 years, a cyclist and fundraiser for AIDS Lifecycle, which is a 7-day, 545-mile bike journey from San Francisco to Los Angeles, supporting the life-saving work of the Los Angeles LGBT Center and the San Francisco AIDS Foundation. Hope everyone is well. Hope spring is in full effect. The sun is streaming in here just now, so that's great. It's because it's been cloudy and foggy here for the last week or so. I am recording this a day late, and it'll probably come out a day late. Hence, partially the reason why I'm in a little different location. I'm usually a little further over there, but this was just easier with some other stuff that was going on today in terms of making some additional content. And so I just thought I'd jump on while I had a few seconds to catch everybody up on the crazy, wild goings on in my life the last week or two. So let's start with the non-knitting stuff on the bike training. AIDS Lifecycle kicks off on the 1st of June, so that means I have just a little over a month to go. And I am at my peak training this week. So this week, the 7 days that started on Saturday and will go through tomorrow, so filming this on Thursday afternoon, so Friday, I will, knock on wood, nothing happens tomorrow, but I will have completed 270 miles of riding in those 7 days. That should be, I think, the peak 7-day rolling total. Let me think about that. Even the next week will start to taper off. So I will start to taper off. I did what I think is probably the hardest training ride I've done in the 6 years that I can remember. Last Saturday did it with a group. It's called the Tri-County Ride because we hit both all of LA County, Riverside County, and Orange County. Lots of climbing, like 4,500 feet of climbing over 67 miles. It was tough. It was a tough ride, but it was also probably the most like an actual ride on the AIDS Lifecycle, because except for the second day, which is the really long day on AIDS Lifecycle, they're all pretty hilly, and so I get a fair amount of hill training done right around here where I live because we're on this giant hill. But combining hills and distance is not something I do a lot of, so that was a tough ride, but survived it and was able to do another 195 miles, and I'll do the last 75 tomorrow. And then really the only things sort of in terms of boxes I like to check on my training is to do 2 80-90 mile rides back to back, which I'll do next week, and then to do a century, which is 100 miles. And I'm going to do that, I think, the day before Mother's Day. And then beyond that, it's just going to be some short hill rides around here and sort of really start to taper off and get my bike on the bus or the truck up to San Francisco. So grateful for that to be over, or nearing over, or at least being able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Fundraising continues on pace. Finished up Destash for good. Got the last shipment out today, so that is all done. And We'll talk about some Stitch Out Loud stuff here in a bit, but besides that, I'm waiting. Knit Stars, the pattern sales from the Knit Stars Pro-Am Design competition, those are going to be donated in May. That should push me over my goal. Don't want to count any chickens until they're hatched, but that is what they've said is going to happen. And so then the last little bits of monies that I'm raising through Knitalongs, Raffle we'll talk about here in a minute. That is, I'm going to hold off on that until make sure that other money comes in, that I hit my goal, and then I am going to be donating that to AIDS Lifecycle, but maybe not into my account, maybe into some other writers' accounts who need a little help to get over the finish line. So very grateful to everyone who has participated in any way along the way, whether donating or buying things in Destash, participating in the Knitalongs, just sharing information. It has taken every bit of that to get me to my goal, so I'm really, really appreciative of that. In terms of other stuff going on, you may have seen that I'm a Knit Star. I am going to be a part of Knit Stars Season 9. I'm still saying it just sounds weird to me, but I am so grateful also for this opportunity. It was a huge surprise when Shelley from Knit Stars asked me to be a part of the upcoming season. The season is titled Permission to Shine, and I was blown away when I saw the other people that are teaching in this class. So just as an example, Gudrun Johnson, who designed the very first garment that I ever made, is going to be teaching along with Hazel Tyndall, doing two modules on Fair Isle. And then Carol Feller, who I met when I was in Ireland, and I wanted to go to her shop because she has designed the blanket that I'm going to be working on later this year, which is going to be the most intense project that I've probably ever worked on. So just two of the names of people who are part of this illustrious group. So I'm really thrilled to be a part of it. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. Maybe not have been perfect timing in terms of trying to do this at the same time that I was trying to finish up my AIDS Lifecycle fundraising for good and train for my last ride and doing the longs and destashes and things along the way. So it has been a bit of a time crunch for me, but that's also probably where I work the best, is in a bit of a stressed situation. So there's been a lot of scrambling along, a lot of knitting that I haven't been able to share with you because it has been stuff that I've been working on for my class for Knit Stars. I will be able to show those projects a little bit further down the line, and I can talk about the yarn diary that I'm working with, which they call the Star Maker. But yeah, so that the announcement was on yesterday. It just feels like it's been something I've been not able to talk about for so long that I can't believe we can actually talk about them now. But that was rolled out yesterday. There's a link down below to the early bird sale for Knit Stars. There's a coupon code SHINE from the theme Permission to Shine that'll get you $50 off the season. If you're not familiar with Knit Stars, it is a video series. So each year they have a new season, and there are usually around 10 different instructors who each get to choose the topic, choose the design a pattern, and choose the dyer that they want to work with. You buy the seasons, you own them forever. You can watch them whenever you want. You can replay them. They live in like a little library app that you can watch on a mobile device. You can watch on your computer, Apple TV if you have that, Roku, Amazon Fire Stick. I'll probably be missing something. And historically, they've been released like in October, November, but this year, for people who buy the seasons early, not only do you get access to the first wave of yarn kits when those go on sale in the next couple of weeks, early May. But they're going to start releasing some of the master classes early, so as early as July. I think they're leaving like right now to go film in Shetland and in Ireland and in Italy, and then they'll come back to the States and continue to film through the summer. But as things get edited, they're going to be releasing the season or the master classes across the summer, a few at a time. So I think the issue had been, or the people had raised, was that everything got released at once or over a very short period of time, and it felt like you couldn't catch up or you couldn't watch them all, in the time frame. There's no race. You own them forever, and it's not even like, even though they all have projects, it's not like a make along where everyone's working on the same project at the same time. But they're spacing these things out, which I think is a great idea because it allows people to kind of relax a little about going through the classes and working on the projects if they want to work on the projects or not. So that's one of the benefits of buying the season early, is that you will be able to get access to the master classes as they become available. There's also going to be a lot of fun, like behind the scenes stuff that they've been filming along the way. I think there's actually somewhere there's going to be a fun video of when Shelley asked me. It actually happened on the hill at Rhinebeck. So a few people saw it happen live, and I'm sure I look ridiculous in it because I literally had no idea what was going on. I thought we were there, and we were there to do photographs and videos. If you've seen some of the fun videos that we did for the Pro-Am design competition with me and Lewis and Nina and Melinda, like playing tug of war with a skein of yarn and trash talking each other. And that's what I thought it was supposed to be happening. And then Shelley gives someone her camera and was like, film this. And she starts this soliloquy and like grabs my hand, and I was like, what's going on? So anyway, I know that video exists. I'm sure that's going to be part of the behind the scenes stuff. So link down below if you want to go check out the other classes that are going to be offering. I'm really excited. They're about everyone's, but in particular, the two Farrell classes are going to be amazing. Carol Feller's class is on reversible cables. I know that. And there's like an amigurumi class. There's a lot of really good content from some amazing teachers. So I'm very excited about it. The link's down below. Go check out to see what all is a part of it. If you end up buying the season through my link, there is a commission that all of the stars get because they give us all these affiliate links. So it is an affiliate situation. So just to be very upfront and transparent about that, I have had several of the seasons of Knit Store Stars in the past. I have thoroughly enjoyed watching them. It is, someone in my knitting group today sort of likened it to, watching the Great British Baking Show, or I would say like an episode of like Martha Stewart or something like that. Like, you may never make the thing itself, but I do think that there are tips and tricks and techniques that, even if you're not going to use them right that minute, that you then can incorporate into your everyday knitting. So, for example, Patty Lyons, I can't remember which season she was, forgive me, Patty, but she did a whole module on tips and tricks of circular knitting. And her tip on the swatching in the round but flat, for me, was like worth the price of admission alone. Like to not have those big dangly loops on your circular swatches, or when you're trying to swatch flat for circular, was just sort of like a huge plus to me. So little things like that. As I said in a post today, I have, as I've gone through starting to plan out my class, I have gone back to Nina Macklin-Dayton's, to Patty Lyons, to Zandy Peters, to Lewis's class on designing your own hat, because my project is going to be a hat and mitt set. So I've gone back to all of those, even though there's not a technique particularly in any of those things that I've that I'm using in my project, little tips and tricks from each of those classes have been super helpful as I've gone down this path. So that is Knit Stars. If you have any questions about Knit Stars, what it is, how it works, drop a comment down below. I will happily try to answer, point you in the right direction in terms of links. But they do a really amazing job with not only finding great people to teach classes and cover really interesting subjects, but the cinematography is amazing as well. So a lot of the people are in these like really dramatic, beautiful landscapes. You're not going to get that here in suburban Southern California, but the filmmaking is really quite good, and they do a great job of editing so that you get some really great close-ups on techniques and things like that, and then the one-on-one. So I can't wait to see how this filming goes. It'll be later this summer, after my ride, thankfully, and should go on for a couple of days. And then I don't even know when my class is going to be released, but I will let you know as soon as I know. But if you want to make sure you're on board to get it, follow the link, grab a copy of the season. So that happened. And on top of that, we also announced the Pride Knitalongs for wrapping up my AIDS Lifecycle fundraising once and for all, or at least as a cyclist. I think I'll continue to do fundraising down the road for them, but not as a cyclist. So first up, we have a shawl that is being designed by Stefan of Steph Made That. If you watched the live that we did, he's working on his sample because we had to get the yarn kits launched, and he hasn't quite is not quite finished with the pattern, but it incorporates all of the colors of the Pride Progress flag in this sort of like V shape, kind of shawlette design. So it's 11 minis fingering weight. So what is that? I think I calculated it's like a little over like two and a half full skeins of yarn. And yarn kits have been dyed up by Briar Patch Fiber Co. So Andrew at Briar Patch Fiber Co., who did one of the colorways for the Stitch Out Loud collection. We're going to see that here in just a second. He dyed up these 11 mini skeins on a BFL nylon fingering base. Turned out great. Here's a photo of them. And those are available for pre-order only through the 30th. So you only got about 4 or 5 more days to get those. I believe they're $77 a piece. And then Steph's pattern will be released sometime closer to cast on date. So the End AIDS Knit Along for Pride runs from June 1st through the end of July. So we have the shawl. We also have a sock mystery knit along. This has been designed by Gabs and Che, who are Slip Sis on Instagram and on Ravelry. And their dad, back in the day, did one of the AIDS life cycles. And so they've been it's been a part of their like family lore for a while. And so they reached out to me and said they wanted to design a sock. And then they were like, let's do a mystery knit along. So it's going to kick off when the ride kicks off, so June 1st. And each day they're going to release a new clue in the pattern. And it is designed as sort of a scrappy sock. So you need 50 grams of a main color. I should mention it's called Coasting Along. So Coast, California Coast. And 50 grams of a main color, and then 50 grams of either scraps or a self-striping, or you could just use a separate color, or choose your own adventure, basically, on the second half of that. And so each day is going to be a new clue new stitch technique or something about it that that will be the new. She said on the live we did, probably not great if it's your very first sock, but if you've moved beyond just like your first plain vanilla, have a basic idea of the constructions of socks, that it should be pretty straightforward. I think it, as written, is cuff down, heel flap, and gusset. So I'm really excited. I mean, I knew she had reached out to me. Obviously, I knew we were doing a sock, but somehow it had like slipped my mind until we were on the live that it was going to be a day-by-day mystery. So I think that's a ton of fun. Obviously, I won't be able to be knitting it during that first week. She says it is possible that, so Gabs was on the live. Che was not available to join us, but she had done a test over a week and was able to finish a sock. But it is something that I'm looking forward to starting as soon as I get back. I just need to figure out what scraps I want to use or what I want to do. Maybe try to use some of the Stitch Out Loud yarn, because that would be kind of fun. Because the seven days, because she kind of knows the ride, she tried to make each of the clues sort of correspond with something about something along the coast of California. So it might be fun to like just take some of the scraps from when I made the swatches of all of the Stitch Out Loud yarns and maybe use one of the solids and do the rest. And I'm looking up at all the balls of yarn that are sitting up on a shelf over there. But that could be a kind of a fun way to do it. I thought about doing self-striping for the color change, but maybe that would be fun, just to take some random scraps from the Stitch Out Loud colors. Anyway, TBD. But the Coasting Along sock pattern is available now on Ravelry. It's just a placeholder for now that gives you sort of the basics of like how much yarn you're going to need and all of that. And then starting on the 1st of June, a new clue will come out every day and the pattern will be updated. So links to the sock pattern, the mini skein yarn kits, and to entry tickets into the Knitalong are all listed in the show notes down below, or here if you are not watching on your device and want to take a picture of your screen. That'll take you to the show notes as well. So those were announced. We, as I mentioned, wrapped up Destash for good. I apologize to everyone. I have now finally reached out to and mailed all of the cast on and halftime giveaways for the current Knitalong, which is the spring cleaning, sort of clean up whatever, anything goes Knitalong, as well as the Bethel shawl Knitalong that they're working on. So that means at the end of the month, there will be the final rounds of prizes. I've got those all sort of picked out now and ready to go. So hopefully there won't be any delays this time. Plus, by the time that happens, I will be just finished and about ready to go to San Francisco. So I may need to draw the names, let people know, and then send everything when I get back. That's probably going to be the way that works out. So a lot of things happening, and we still have one more fundraiser to go. So I think I mentioned this last time. The tickets are now available up on the coffee page, but I am raffling off 2 full collections of the Stitch Out Loud collection. So all of the yarn, the bag, the Hello Lavender stitch markers, the stitch minders from DK Graham, and the pen from Miguel, who is the other writer who we sold his pens to raise money for him, plus all of the yarn. So I have, as the yarn is coming in, I have my sample skeins that I used to photograph. Those I'm going to be giving away. So head over to the coffee page. The tickets are $10 a piece for a single. But then there are deals where you can get 6 for the price of 5 or 13 for the price of 10, essentially. So the drawing for that is going to be on the 15th of May. So that will correspond with the day that I'm starting to ship out all of the Stitch Out Loud collection yarn. So head over there and buy raffle tickets, and may the odds be ever in your favor. So hopefully we'll raise a couple thousand more dollars for A's Lifecycle right at the very end, and I can help to push some writers that may be right on the cusp of hitting their minimums over the edge and make sure that they get to San Francisco and not have to sweat it out at the last minute. So that's kind of all the stuff that is sort of admin-y, fundraising, stuff like that. Sorry about that. So in terms of Craftivism, I have one thing that came across my feed. That is from a diary called Yarn Inc. And so Friday, so that should be yesterday, had a shop update, and included in that shop update was your last chance to get a yarn colorway inspired by a friend of hers who was dealing with metastatic breast cancer. It's called F Cancer, and it is, here's a picture of it, beautiful yarn, and 10% of the profits from that yarn is going to be donated to an organization called metaviver.org. So go check that out over at Yarn Inc. To help fund some money to help breast cancer, fight breast cancer anyway. And that was what I had that came across my feed. I been so busy with all of this Knit Stars stuff that I probably was not paying as much attention to Instagram this week, except for hitting post for things to see a bunch of stuff. So if you do ever see anything that comes across your feed that you think I should mention, just drop me a DM over on Instagram, or throw a comment here, or email me at GaryKnitsGaryRides@gmail.com, and I'll take a look at it and see if we can get it into the show. So in terms of the actual crafting, as I mentioned, I've been scrambling to try to test yarns and get samples and swatches and all that stuff for my Knit Stars projects, which in a couple of episodes down the road, I will give you a little sneak peek at. As I mentioned, it's going to be a hat and mitt set. So it's fun. It's the first time I've been designing mitts. So that's been a little bit of a learning curve in terms of, doing thumb gussets, but also incorporating patterns. But it's been, fun. I think that the learning part of this whole process has been a ton of fun. I love the swatch stuff. I never thought I would really be into, but have loved all of the swatching and stuff like that. The drilling down and actually the nitty gritty of like writing down the pattern and stuff, less fun. But so I've been doing a bunch of stuff on that. I don't have any FOs this week, although I'm getting close on a couple of things. I have this talk about, I mentioned last couple times, I've been taking a hat design course with Nina Macklin Dayton through Webs, and we have our final class this week. We're supposed to have designed 2 hats. I don't know that she actually said "and finished," but I think that part of the successful design is being finished with actually making a version of it to make sure the design works. So I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to hit that exact goal, but I'll be pretty close. I did finish the hat that went along with the Knit Stars Pro-Am design competition hat and scarf. So the second hat in that set, that was the first project I worked on. And the second one that I started, although it's probably not going to be the second one that gets finished if the second one gets finished, is this stranded color work hat. It is all Knit Picks. So the base color is it's called Upcycled Alpaca. I don't have the ball band with me here, but Upcycle Alpaca, and it's a color called Sage. And then the colorwork bits are Felici worsted from Knit Picks in a colorway called Friendly Skies. I mentioned this before because we talked about the puckering, which is in fact because I use the same size needle instead of going down in needle size, in addition to the color work being part of the brim. But I did a hemmed brim, and now I'm just going straight up. I should take a measure because I don't know that I'm all that far from wanting to start the crown decreases on this, but probably I'm not gonna this one's probably, well, it's definitely not going to get finished by the day after tomorrow, but that is fine because I think I have a better shot at finishing the other one up. But just kind of wanted to play around with some of these construction things, and it's a very large size, so may go to Knit the Rainbow. Probably too heavy for my husband to wear around here because, with this color work and the alpaca, it's pretty warm. But it's been fun. It's been a fun project to work on, and I like how those colors. In real life, it's a little more green. It's a gray green, but it's a little more on the green side, I think. But so that's pretty. So the third hat that I'd started, and 1 second, I'll show you. I think I'd mentioned this before that I wanted to juggle. I wanted to try to replicate this kind of idea of the On Golden Pond hat in knit fabric, and so trying a couple of different things. I'm not sure how successful it's ultimately going to be. I think it may be a better crochet project. I've seen some crochet kind of bucket hats and like more sun hats. So that may be the way to go. But what I have done is used a stitch from a Barbara Walker book, and I think it's called like the fabric stitch. And it's just a knit purl slip stitch, or not pearls at all. It's like slip stitch pattern that creates a denser fabric than stockinette. The idea being that a denser fabric, and then I decreased a little bit from the brim to the body of the hat. The idea that extra sort of tension or tightness around your head will cause that bottom to pop out a little bit. We shall see. So now I've just been going round and round and round. I am at the point now that I need to start doing the crown decreases. But I think what I'm going to do, and this was a suggestion that Nina mentioned and then sent me to her Knit Stars Masterclass, which I had already watched, but I went back and watched the section again, and I think it's a pretty, could work. So you can see this has this little raised bit above the crown. So the crown kind of sits down there. So what I'm going to do is do a welt around the entire crown. So drop down, 3 or 4 rows, pick up stitches, and then knit them together with the ones on the thing to create a little welt. And then from that, start the decreases. So I'm probably not going to be up for math tomorrow night after riding my bike for 5.5 hours, 75 miles. But maybe if I do the math tonight and maybe even do the welt tonight, then I will have figured out what the crown decreases, and that might be something I could pull off in my brain fog from tomorrow. So there is a small chance that I could get this done by class on Saturday morning. And we'll see. If I did try it on, I won't do that here, but I did sort of like try to put it on. It feels like a little small, but and the brim didn't really do much of that. The other thing that I'm going to try, and that she said, on these kind of pillboxy type hats or brimmed hats, is just block that out. So stretch, make it a little wider at the bottom than it is in here from blocking, and see if that helps at all. So we'll see. It was really an exercise in just learning construction and techniques and kind of seeing what was working. I didn't have a huge, need to make a knit version of this hat. I still think it could be kind of fun if I could figure it out down the road, but it's not for my Knit Stars project, so I'm not on any sort of timeline to try to figure out that. And that, again, one of the things that I'm most looking forward to being finished with the ride and now finished with getting through my filming on Knit Stars is like just taking a little slower approach to knitting and not having any real deadlines to think about this fall. So anyway, that is the knit version of the On Golden Pond hat. If I ever do make it, I think I'll call it the Norman hat after Henry Fonda's character in the movie, and I think it's also in the play as well, Norman Thayer. So that's it. It is in Yarnaceous Fibers, DK, one of a kind gray tonal. I have another skein of it to play around with later as well. So hopefully finish that up tomorrow, because I think tonight, maybe I'll do the math. The other thing I'm working on that I would like to finish up tonight, and I totally can, is the second of my giant red hats. I think I've mentioned that these are for a friend of mine who's doing the ride as part of their Red Dress Day costumes to make these giant red hats that will fit over a bicycle helmet. That's all I will say in giving away. I won't give away their secret plan, but I am done with its at its full height and ready for the crown decreases. So I will quickly do that and then get that shipped off to them. And then I have a fair amount of Brava. Worsted weight yarn. So Knit the Rainbow may be getting a fair number of red beanies this year for for my donations. Because I mean, these two hats took a fair amount of it, but certainly not anywhere near the 500 grams that I bought. So if anyone has any need for red Brava worsted, let me know. I'll get it to you. But that's as close to a FO as I have, and those are the only really 3 whips outside of my Knit Stars project that is getting any love right now. I still have my Bethel shawl, and one of these days we'll get back to it. Maybe July, just as my fun knitting project with no deadlines. It will be the shawl from Stefan, the Bethel, and the mystery Knitalong socks from Slip Sis. So we shall see, and then maybe August I will start afresh with new projects for the fall. So that is it in terms of the knitting and the making. On the acquisition side, there has not been. Let me just think. I don't think there's been any yarn come into the house that is not related to Stitch Out Loud. I won't say it isn't for me, because some of these orders have things for me in them as well. But the Stitch Out Loud orders have started to arrive. So, and the yarn is looking so great. I mean, I know it's essentially the same as what I've already seen, but it just, I don't know, something about seeing it in quantity now has like gotten me so excited. So I mentioned before, Andrew's doing the yarn kits for Stefan's shawl in the Pride Progress minis, and his Skinny Dipping in the River colorway arrived. So good. Definitely this is going to be my first assigned, well, not first, but latest assigned pooling project. It's definitely going to be a shawl in this. The other ones that have come in so far, and this is the sock set, but the Old West cinnamon roll and with the cherry on top mini from Coven Collective Fiber Arts. Both the full skeins and the sock sets came in. And then the gang up at Coven Collective put little cherry stitch markers on there. So how cute is that? And the dyers were fantastic from the get-go. I mean, working with all these amazing dyers has been fantastic, and they were also game for this whole operation, and were fantastic. And then they've all been sending little mailers in their boxes, which has been very, very sweet. I mean, I have some from Destash, but with hundreds of skeins of yarn to pack up, I might have run out and had to go buy some more. So now I think going to have plenty to ship everything out to everyone. So I think we're on track. Everything should be here in the next couple weeks, and I will begin shipping on or before, if possible, the 15th of May to get these all out to everyone before I head out to San Francisco. The last one that arrived, and it just arrived today, was Drag Queen Pit Stop from Nancy at Trilogy Yarn on her yak base. So all these sort of like deep, dark, sort of sultry reds, and then there's some green. There's some purple in there as well. Really, really, really cool, and it's UV reactive as well. So, and the yak sock base, forget about it. It's fantastic. So that's really the only acquisitions that have come in, but it is very exciting to start getting the actual wholesale orders in of the yarn so I can start packing it up. But just seeing it all accumulate has been very exciting. Trying to keep it contained into this room so it doesn't take over, like because when I do a Destash, it could take over the whole like kitchen and guest room area of the house. So I'm going to try to keep it contained in here and keep the packing. Just pop some movies in and like just do the packing in hopefully 2 or 3 days is all it'll take me. But that is it for me this episode. Thank you all who have gone over to the Knit Stars link and checked it out and purchased. And if you can, awesome. If you can't, that is fine as well. Please share the links or go to one of the other stars links if you are fans of theirs, and help them out by supporting and sharing and all that as well. It really does make a difference, and it's been such a fun project. I'm really excited for my class, and I hope that a lot of people get a chance to not see just me, but the whole season is going to be fantastic. If you've liked this very brief content today, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend as well. Continue to try to build this community and spread the word about ways that people in the fiber community are trying to make the world a little bit better with projects and donations and all of that fun craftivism stuff. Have a great couple of weeks. I will talk to you soon.